I think as I'm getting to the end now of my whole MDiv, my whole 3 years here, this colloquium has been one of the most important experiences. I think I am taking from this different ways of teaching, different ways of engaging, different ways of setting up conversations that I have not experienced elsewhere. Some of the work and reading that we did on trauma has really dovetailed with some of the work that I've been trying to do with the immigrant populations that I've been sort of working with and hope to do more work with. And I think I've changed what I do as a minister to young people as a result of the frame of intergenerational trauma, of international migration, and the effects of deep displacement and the spirituality of displacement. So I think being able to incorporate those concepts into some of the plans that I'm making as I go forward, that's moving me in new directions.
And often, contemporary discourse, religions or political parties or other division, other identities often divide us. And I really enjoyed seeing how different religions connect. And for me, I've been looking at Islam and Buddhism and the many connections between them. So I think that was a great sort of learning, I guess, a further learning from this course, that just the connections between different religions.
How I interact with others has definitely dramatically changed, especially from people of other faith traditions, other cultural identities, because I had really never been exposed to much before. Growing up in a white suburban area, I wasn't diversified in my views or having opinions or knowing people from other faith traditions. So it's been really interesting to go into conversation with people who are coming from a broad approach and broad background. I think in my just general conversations with them, I'm much more mindful of how their lives have changed, how their lives have been formulated around their religious and spiritual traditions, and how that relates to conversations of peace, and taking into perspective what others' roles have been in the field of peace in general.
Let's say Buddhism and climate change. And for me particularly, my interest was on big corporations. And I have been thinking about that, like saying big corporations are the problems in the world, but I wanted to understand big corporations without just blaming them. And creating that kind of conversation there, I think that was really meaningful to me.
There are many aspects of this course that have been beneficial to me, both personally and in thinking about my future career in humanitarian work. It's been really fascinating to see the many different ways that people go about religious peace building, how it's studied as a field, from looking at peace building at the grassroots level with individual religious actors in a community, to looking at religious leaders working on really big projects and devising entire frameworks for understanding religious peace building. It's an inspiring field. I think from now on, I will always be thinking when I'm studying a conflict or when I'm studying a social problem, I'll always be thinking about how religious leaders and religious people and communities are involved, and how they could be more involved. I know it's had a huge impact on me, on friends in the Colloquium, and also a lot of my friends in the Harvard community and greater Boston community who I've invited to the lectures. This has had a transformational impact on our community here and led to some fascinating discussions and really, really deep conversations about the subjects.
This course has given me more breadth to my understanding of how people practice peace all over the world. So I feel that this course has just kind of let me open up the cover of a rich book that I'm looking forward to engaging with from now on.
The course has helped me prepare to become a peace practitioner better, first by being able to understand all the different practices that are around me in the religious aspect. There has been a lot of different people that have come to talk to us and have their own set of important issues we need to think about every time there's a conflict. Like they talk to us about how to handle emotional things when there's a conflict, or how to handle dignity when there's a conflict and the importance of dignity. Being here has helped me to have all these techniques and expertise on the subject to be able to deal with all the biosocial aspects of health.